Welcome everybody to a new episode of Movie Rants. I should have done this actually yesterday evening. I am aware of that, but yeah, there were some certain situations where it was not possible to do. And it was suddenly so overcrowded with news articles actually on the for GTA Sports Studio. So we couldn't step that away from this either. We're a little bit understaffed at the moment. But we'll manage, so don't worry about it. Anyway, thank you for tuning in. My name is Jan-Jaap and reporting for GTA Live Tube here on YouTube. Okay, and of course you can find our Facebook page, facebook.com/GTA movie Rants. Sorry, yeah, I just lost the plot there. Sorry about that. All right, we're going to talk about maybe one of the most controversial movies in the in the 80s. The the movie when it came out, it got yeah, it was written as the most violent movie. Uh, uh, Love violence and the story doesn't match up, and it is not a movie for that should be categorized as an about the Vietnam War and stuff. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. If you now look at this movie, and we're talking about Rambo, First Blood here. Of course, it's from 1982. The thing is, if you now look at this movie today, it's not that violent to compare to other movies we have today in the cinema. I'll be really honest about it. It is. I think it's even if you compare it today to a lot of action movies. For example, if I now take a movie, it was the other day on the television, it was Starship Troopers, and if you compare it to that, then yeah, then it is actually a very relaxing movie. I mean, I like Starship Trooper a lot, and if you, I watched the other day also Rambo for you guys, and I thought to myself, well, this is not that violent actually. And of course, I've seen Rambo many times now in my life. I already saw it way back in the 80s. I think of something. I didn't see it, of course, in the cinema, guys, because I was around 6 years old there. I think my parents were not really happy to show me the movie because they thought it was very violent and stuff. And there are some scenes. Yeah, at that time I think the movie was a little bit advanced of what we can tolerate today. I mean, if you now see Rambo, it is yeah, well, it is a really a very sweet movie. I mean, I see today movies that you think to yourself, really, how can you say that about Rambo? Rambo is currently actually out as to be a classic. Uh, they're soon coming out in the van remake made in India and will be spoken in Hindi. And that's why I actually do it because I think that is a little bit wrong. And here's the fact, because it is actually about a guy who came from the Vietnam War, has emotion damaged. Let's be honest about it. He didn't have it well. He was a guy who was apparently homeless due to the war. He couldn't come along with a normal job because, yeah, it was hard for him. These people who came from Vietnam, it didn't sure fact they were psychological damage, most of them, or emotional damage. So it was a common fact. But here's the thing: if you make a movie um, of Rambo in India in Hindi, India was never alone in the Vietnam War, right? They were not involved. I googled it. That they were not attached to it. It was America against. Yeah, but they think it's the communists. It's about a war of communists, a political war, political war. Eh? Let's be honest about it. And and here's the thing. Here's the thing, guys. Here's the thing. Um, I think it's a great movie, actually. I really do. I think if you're going to make such a movie in another language, you can of course do it, but you really have to present it good. Now they have, I don't know how much it's 1 billion rupees. Now I don't know what a rupee is, how much it's worth. I didn't want to look it up. I can do it if you want. I have such an on my telephone actually, such a phone. So I'll take a look it up for you quickly. I have an app for that on my telephone. It is apparently connected to the bank, so it will look you up. Look up in the rupees. Shall we do it to dollars? Yeah, let's do that, right? Because then we have a showcase of. Okay, one. Oh, there's actually a lot. For American movies nowadays, it's actually not that much. It's around 15 million dollar, but it's 15 to be correctly 15,570,370 and 75 cents. So that is not that much. If you have that as a budget for a movie nowadays, and maybe in Bollywood it is. I think it's wrong, and I'm really scared for a major flop. And I think it will destroy the Rambo movie. I think that it should be make then do at least in America because it's more realistic. America was in that war, and I'll be honest, it is really been a hard war. The protests were that, yes, true, but you forget also about the soldiers, and that is actually that movie about. I'll be honest, the movie, if never have seen Rambo, I will tell you a little bit the story. The Rambo comes to a little town to look up actually an old army buddy. He found out the last army buddy he passed away due to cancer. And he's ever traveling, yeah, to find happiness somewhere. Apparently, apparently if you're homeless, you always look travel to another place to find a better life. You know the big saying, the grass is always greener with your neighbor, if you know what I mean. And I think that is all about. And he traveled through a small town, and he the police stop him because he thinks, well, he's going to give a lot of problems. And actually what Rambo wants is that he wants to get something to eat in the town. He's hungry, probably has some cash on him. You never know how he got it, but that's not important. So the police offers him, he thought, well, be creative, I'll drive him through the other side of the town, and then he can walk 30 miles and there is a diner a highway, can eat there. I don't want that homeless dude in my town. I see that's provocative. He's still wearing, of course, his clothes from the Vietnam War. He sees that as provoking, actually. But the guy doesn't actually do harm. Well, in the beginning, okay. Okay. He's just there, wants to travel through. He wants to get a bite, and then he walks back to town because he doesn't give a fuck. Because he wants to eat. If you're hungry, you want to eat. Trust me. It's a common thing. And um, so he travels through town, back to town. He gets arrested, and they found a knife on him. But apparently he hunts with it, and could easily be, these homeless. If you're homeless there in America, you apparently, and if you know your whereabouts as ex military, yeah, you know your way around with weapons, and you can do. And technically, it was a common thing that if you were in Vietnam, you know how to hunt. Um, So and then so he breaks free. The police start chasing him, and actually, let's be honest, whole hell breaks loose. And that is what Rambo is about. He takes revenge on the cops for actually, due his assault, he gets beaten up by the copper, and yeah, he gets also flashbacks from when he was in the time in Vietnam, and that is actually what Rambo is about. Um, it is a basic, simple story, but the movie did pretty well, even though it was rated very violent at the time, uh, and uh, but in a weird way, you can understand also a little bit. You can feel for the guy because he didn't want to do any harm, and he's just getting choked for being actually put in a box. What we like to do in society, and that sometimes can really hurt um, if you're being put in a box. Um, so, and people forget about that sometimes. And trust me, we've all been there. I've been there also. I mean, due to I'm from Holland and I live in Denmark, I get also some racial remarks, and that doesn't match at all, and it really hurts a crap. And people don't understand that. But okay, that I don't want to go into. Um, Here's the thing. Um, um, so that's actually what the movie about. The movie even got a part 2, 3, and 4. Actually, 4 is really rubbish, but 3 is already getting there. You know what I mean? Yeah. It took also a very long time from 3 when 4 was made, so don't worry about it. But it actually, funny way, the Rambo franchise made Sylvester Stallone, of course, together with the Rocky movie, and I will also do that soon, that movie, because it's a great movie. I think he belongs in my sequence, and so is it advisable to see? Yes, definitely. There are some scenes though that are a little bit creepy, and that he's suing his own because he got hurt. Because they learn also that in the military, you have to do that if you want to survive. You don't want to bleed to death. So the movie can have a little bit moments that you think to yourself, okay. So I advise you not to watch it with children, or at least, well, be all the time present with your children due to certain scenes, as I'm talking about. I don't think it's that violent, far from it compared to other movies. It's just a pure action movie. The story, eh, it is a very basic, simple story. I don't want to compare it exactly how the critics were saying at the time. It was bad, it's not flop. I don't go along on that either. There isn't some certain degree in truth of it that is actually pointing out that people who came back, as I said before, from Vietnam were emotional damage and maybe even a part psychological damage. And that is just a fact. I mean, war can have an emotional, very hard hitting on yourself, even if you're a soldier. Doesn't matter what for shape and form. And he was a Green Beret. He was actually doing the most hard hitting and dirty work for the military. And these were really scumbags. They really had to do the most disgusting work. I don't want even to think about what they had to do. It's just what you hear about is just the top notch. That is the top of the iceberg, as they call that, right? Um, so that I will give this week. Also due to protest against the remake, because I think it's horsewash they're doing it. If you want to do a remake, then fine, but do it in America because it's just horsewash. If you want to go to India, India didn't have anything to do with Vietnam. I'll be honest. The one thing I do agree on is the casting. I've been looking a little bit on the casting. The guy who is playing Rambo, he really looks a lot on the picture though. Can be wrong on the time, but the the guy who's playing is coming very to the same looks as Rambo or as Sylvester Stallone. Okay, if you want to know some names who played in the Rambo, of course, Sylvester Stallone, of course, Richard Crenna, Brian Dennehy. I think these also made the perfect things. Richard Crenna speelt then, of course, the commander who who actually trained Rambo, and then you have Brian Dennehy, the the copper who actually started the incident. I think these also made uh, Rambo. I think and also they got a great career after that due to Rambo. The Rambo, even though it was so critically actually pushed down the waist and it grew out, and it was amazing that it grew out to a classic. They made actually these careers, especially I think Sylvester Stallone got the best of it. He became a huge movie star out of it. I don't Everybody knows Sylvester Stallone, and if you ask where do we know Sylvester Stallone from, well, you come to a movie like Rambo, right? Yeah, Rocky maybe, but definitely people all say Rocky or Rambo. That's the thing with Rambo. I think the movie, even though due to very bad critics, made it very good. It grown out a major classic, and it's an all-time classic. I still can see it. I think it's a great movie still, and still makes sense. Um, and it's just a full-blown good action movie, actually. And I'll be honest, the action that there is there, the action movies made today are not that great anymore, and that is actually a shame. So anyway, thank you for watching for Movie Rants today. My name is Jan-Jaap. I'll be later on today doing the GTA Live, a GTA show, of course. Then tomorrow I'll be on with This Week in Sport. And then from Sunday to Monday night at 5 o'clock, around that time, after the Money in the Bank pay-per-view, we have the aftermath of WWE Money in the Bank. Well, then we're coming close. Movie Rants will be back on Friday. I will definitely try to plan it in that we gain a little bit more, but it was Sunday so overcrowded with news. I apologize for this. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Have a great Saturday. I'll see you later live with the DJ show. Ciao.